For 3 days, Dae-jung barely slept. The mining drones worked around the clock, digging deeper toward the buried ship. He sat in his workshop watching the screens and drinking too much coffee. His hands shook more than usual, but he didn't care. The excavation was going faster than expected. The energy field around the ship seemed to help rather than hinder. It stabilized the tunnel walls, preventing cave-ins. It was almost like the ship wanted to be found. On the fourth morning, Hyun-woo came back. He looked tired and worried. "Grandfather, people are talking. They hear strange noises from your property at night. The vibrations are shaking buildings in town." Hyun-woo paused at the workshop door. "What are you doing?" Dae-jung said nothing. He kept his eyes on the computer screen. Hyun-woo walked closer and saw the excavation data. His expression changed from worry to shock. "This is real? You're actually digging down there? Go away. Those coordinates. That depth." Hyun-woo grabbed a chair and sat down, staring at the screen. "What did you find?" "I don't need your help. Grandfather, I work with data systems. I can help you analyze this." Hyun-woo pointed at the sensor readings. "These numbers don't make sense. That energy field shouldn't exist. And the metal composition. This isn't any alloy in our databases." Dae-jung looked at his grandson. The young man's eyes were bright with curiosity, the same way Dae-jung's own eyes must have looked when he was young and everything seemed possible. "There's a ship down there," Dae-jung said quietly. "Something old. Something that came back. The Taeguki? Maybe. Or something that used to be the Taeguki." Dae-jung pulled up more data. "The signal is getting stronger. I think we're close." Hyun-woo studied the screens for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. "I have connections. People who can get us better equipment. Scanning tools that might tell us more. Those will cost money. I have money." Hyun-woo was already making calls. "We need to know what we're dealing with before we break through completely." Over the next 2 days, they worked together. Hyun-woo brought in advanced scanning equipment that he borrowed from his company. Dae-jung taught him how to operate the mining drones and interpret the old sensor readings. Slowly, they began to understand each other better. The scans revealed more details about the ship. It was enormous, bigger than any vessel built during the first expansion. The hull was made of something that was part metal, part crystal, and part organic matter. It shouldn't be possible, but there it was, 15 kilometers down. "The cavern is completely sealed," Hyun-woo said, pointing at the three-dimensional map on his screen. "No tunnels leading in or out. It's like the ship created the space around itself, or it was placed there deliberately. By who? This predates any mining operations in Korea." Dae-jung didn't answer. He sent the drones forward for the final push. The breakthrough happened at midnight. The drones cut through the last layer of rock and emerged into the cavern. Their lights swept across a space so vast that the far walls were invisible, and there, suspended in the darkness, was the ship. It looked nothing like human vessels. The hull was covered in geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Crystalline structures grew from the metal like frozen flowers. The ship glowed with a faint blue light that pulsed in steady rhythms. "Beautiful," Hyun-woo whispered. Dae-jung sent a drone closer. As it approached, the ship's lights brightened. Panels opened along the hull. A voice spoke, crackling through the drone's audio system. It was speaking Korean. "Identify yourself," the voice said. It sounded female, calm, and very old. Dae-jung grabbed the microphone. "This is Dae-jung. I'm a mechanic." "Who are you?" "I am Tae-yang. I was the captain of this vessel." A pause. "How long has it been?" "Since when?" "Since we left Earth." Hyun-woo checked his database. "The Taeguki launched in 2031. It's now 2187. 156 years. The voice didn't sound surprised. "That's less time than I expected. What happened to you?" Dae-jung asked. "Where did you go?" "We went to the edge. Beyond the mapped systems. Beyond anything humans had seen before." The ship's lights pulsed faster. "We found something there. A structure. A gateway left by beings that existed before our sun was born." The main hull opened. Light spilled out, illuminating the cavern. Dae-jung could see inside the ship now. There were chambers filled with strange equipment, and stasis pods, dozens of them glowing with the same blue light. "My crew is still alive," Tae-yang said. "We couldn't come back as we were. The gateway changed us, gave us knowledge, showed us the truth about the galaxy." "What truth?" Hyun-woo asked. "That humanity is not alone. That we are not special. That we are, in fact, very late to a very old game. The voice grew heavier. There are civilizations out there that have existed for millions of years. They control most of the galaxy. They don't like new species. They see us as threats or resources. Daejung felt cold. Why did you come back here? To hide, to wait, to preserve the knowledge we gained. Taeyang paused. The gateway showed us technologies that could help humanity survive what's coming. But we couldn't bring them back openly. The old powers would have detected us, so we buried ourselves here, in the bedrock of our homeworld, and waited for someone to find us. What's coming? Hyunwoo's voice was tight. War, conquest, extinction. The Dominion Coalition controls most of the galaxy. They don't allow young species to advance. They either absorb them as client races or eliminate them entirely. The ship's lights dimmed. We estimate humanity has 50 years before the Dominion discovers your colonies and comes to make their decision about your species. The cavern was silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Can you help us? Daejung finally asked. Yes. The knowledge is here, stored in my core systems. Weapons, shields, faster than light drives that actually work. Manufacturing techniques that would take your species centuries to develop. Taeyang's voice softened. But there's a cost. To access the technology, someone must interface with my systems. They must merge with the ship, become part of it. The process cannot be reversed. What happens to the person who does this? They become more and less. Their consciousness expands. They gain access to the collected knowledge of extinct civilizations. But they can never be fully human again. Hyunwoo looked at Daejung. We need to tell someone about this. The government. The military. This is too big for us. If we tell them, they'll take control. They'll study the ship for years while bureaucrats argue about what to do. Daejung stared at the glowing vessel. We don't have years. Grandfather, you can't be thinking, I'm old. My life is almost over anyway. Daejung stood up. I've spent decades fixing broken things. Maybe this is what I'm meant to fix. You don't know what it will do to you. I know that I'm not afraid. Daejung started gathering equipment. I'm going down there. Please, let's think about this. You can tell them after I'm inside. Bring the military, the scientists, whoever you want. Daejung looked at his grandson. But I need to do this first. I need to see what's inside. Hyunwoo tried to argue, but Daejung had made up his mind. He had been making up his mind his whole life, and no one had ever changed it. He climbed into his excavation suit, the one he used for deep mining work. Hyunwoo helped him check the seals and the oxygen supply. Neither of them spoke much. I'll be monitoring from here, Hyunwoo said. If anything goes wrong, it won't. Daejung sealed the helmet. Take care of the workshop if I don't come back. He descended through the tunnel the drones had carved, following the blue light that grew brighter with every meter. Above him, Hyunwoo watched the displays and tried not to think about how stubborn his grandfather had always been. The workshop smelled of rust and burnt metal. Daejung wiped his greasy hands on his coveralls and stared at the navigation system spread across his workbench. The old cargo hauler had been sitting in his scrapyard for 3 months, and its owner wanted it fixed by Friday. That gave him 2 days. He was 68 years old now. His back hurt when he bent over the workbench. His hands shook sometimes when he held the smaller tools, but he could still fix anything that flew, and that was something. The scrapyard stretched out behind his small workshop, filled with broken ships and dead machines. Most people in Busan thought he was crazy for keeping the place running. The big salvage companies had pushed out small operators like him years ago. But Daejung was stubborn. He had always been stubborn. He connected the navigation system to his diagnostic computer and pressed the power button. The screen flickered to life, showing a mess of corrupted data. He sighed and started sorting through the errors one by one. That was when he saw it. Hidden beneath layers of normal navigation data was something else. A signal. It was weak but steady like a heartbeat. Daejung leaned closer to the screen. The signal was using old technology, the kind they stopped making before he was born. Pre-Exodus equipment from when humans first started leaving Earth. His fingers moved across the keyboard, isolating the signal. It was a coordinate beacon, but the coordinates made no sense. They pointed down, not up. Deep down, beneath the Korean peninsula. 15 kilometers underground. Daejung ran the scan 3 more times. Each time the results were the same. Something was down there, something big and metallic. The computer estimated it was at least 200 meters long. A ship. Buried under Korea for over 2 centuries. He sat back in his chair, his heart beating faster. He knew what this could be. Everyone who worked in aerospace knew the story. The Taguchi, the legendary colony ship that vanished during the first wave of expansion. It had launched in 2031 with 300 crew members and was never seen again. Most people thought it had been destroyed or lost in deep space. But what if it had come back? What if it had crashed here so deep underground that no one ever found it? The workshop door banged open. Daejung jumped and quickly minimized the screen. Bora walked in, carrying her tablet and wearing her official inspector uniform. She was young, maybe 30, and she had been trying to shut down his scrapyard for the past year. "Good afternoon, Daejung," she said, not sounding friendly at all. "I'm here for the monthly inspection." "Everything is in order," Daejung said, standing up and blocking her view of his computer. "That's what you said last month." Bora walked past him, scanning the workshop with her tablet. "You're 3 months behind on your guild fees. Your environmental permits expired in January, and I've received complaints about noise from your equipment. I'll pay the fees next week. You said that last month too." She turned to face him. "Daejung, you're a good mechanic. Everyone knows that. But this place is falling apart. You should retire, sell the land, and let someone else use it properly. This is my land, my workshop. It's a junkyard." Bora's voice softened slightly. "I'm trying to help you. The guild will shut you down in 30 days if you don't pay. Then you'll get nothing." After she left, Daejung sat in the dark workshop for a long time. He looked at the computer screen, at the signal still blinking steadily from 15 kilometers down. He had 30 days. 30 days before they took everything away from him. Maybe it was time to dig. The next morning, his grandson Hyunwoo showed up. Daejung hadn't seen him in almost a year. Hyunwoo worked for some big data company in Seoul. He wore expensive clothes and carried a phone that cost more than Daejung made in a month. "Grandfather," Hyunwoo said, bowing slightly, "we need to talk. I'm busy. I spoke with your doctor. He says you missed your last 3 appointments." Hyunwoo followed him into the workshop. "Your blood pressure is too high. You're not taking your medicine." "I don't need medicine. You're almost 70 years old. You need to take care of yourself." Hyunwoo looked around the messy workshop with obvious distaste. "This place isn't good for you. I found a nice facility in Seoul. Clean, modern, with medical staff. You could be comfortable there." "You mean a place for old people to wait until they die?" "Grandfather, please. Be reasonable." Daejung turned to face his grandson. "You think I'm useless. You think I'm just a crazy old man playing with broken machines?" "I didn't say that. You don't have to." Daejung pointed at the door. "I have work to do. You can leave." Hyunwoo stood there for a moment, then shook his head and walked out. That night, Daejung began excavating. He had 4 old mining drones in the scrapyard, machines that companies had abandoned years ago. He spent hours repairing them, replacing burnt circuits and broken treads. By midnight, he had 3 of them working. He programmed the coordinates into the drones and sent them down through an old mining shaft at the edge of his property. The shaft had been sealed decades ago, but Daejung knew how to open it. He knew every tunnel and shaft beneath this area. He had worked in the deep mines before becoming a mechanic. The drones descended slowly, cutting through rock and soil. Daejung watched their progress on his computer screen, drinking cold coffee and ignoring the pain in his back. At 14.3 kilometers, something changed. The drones hit a barrier, not rock or metal, but something else. An energy field. The sensors showed readings that didn't make sense. The field was old, older than any human technology, but somehow Daejung's ancient drones could pass through it. Their Earth-era alloys and simple circuits slipped through the barrier like it wasn't there. Modern equipment couldn't do that. Only the old stuff worked. Daejung smiled. Maybe being outdated had advantages. By dawn, the drones had cleared a path to the cavern. The computer showed the outline of something massive in the darkness below. A ship, just as he had thought. But the metal was strange. The angles were wrong. The structure defied normal engineering principles. This wasn't just an old colony ship. This was something else. Something that had been changed by whatever it found out there in the dark spaces between stars. The signal grew stronger, pulsing like a living thing, and Daejung realized that whatever was down there, it was waking up. It had been waiting for someone to find it. Waiting for someone with the right tools and the right knowledge. Waiting for him. He finished his coffee and started preparing the heavy excavation equipment. If they were going to shut him down in 30 days, he would make those days count. He would find out what was buried beneath his scrapyard. He would prove that old mechanics still had value. He would dig until he found the truth. The cavern was even larger than the scans had shown. Daejung's suit lights barely reached the walls. The ship floated in the center, held in place by nothing visible. Its crystalline structures cast dancing shadows across the stone. "I'm at the entrance," Daejung said into his radio. "I'm reading your vitals. Everything looks stable." Hyunwoo's voice crackled through the static. "Please be careful. Always am." The ship's main hatch was open, waiting. Daejung walked up the ramp and stepped inside. The interior was wrong in ways that made his eyes hurt. Corridors that seemed to curve in impossible directions. Rooms that looked bigger from the inside than the outside. The walls were covered in symbols that shifted when he looked at them directly. "Welcome." Taeyang's voice echoed through the halls. "You are brave to come alone." "I'm just old and stubborn," Daejung said. "Where is your crew?" "Follow the blue lights." He walked deeper into the ship. The corridors changed as he moved, rearranging themselves to guide him forward. After several minutes, he emerged into a large chamber filled with stasis pods. Inside each pod was a person, or what used to be a person. Their bodies were fused with machinery and crystalline structures. Wires grew from their skin like vines. Their eyes glowed with the same blue light that filled the ship. "Are they alive?" Daejung whispered. "Yes. They sleep and dream of the things we saw at the edge." One of the pods opened with a hiss. "Captain Jiwoo is waking. She wanted to meet you." The woman in the pod opened her eyes. She looked young, maybe 30, but Daejung knew she was over 180 years old. Cables disconnected from her arms and legs. She sat up slowly. "Hello," she said. Her voice was hoarse from disuse. "You found us. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. Don't apologize. We've been waiting." Jiwoo climbed out of the pod. She moved strangely, as if gravity didn't affect her the same way. "Taeyang tells me you want to interface with the ship." "I want to help. If I can." Jiwoo studied him with those glowing eyes. "You're a mechanic. You fix things." "Yes, good, that's what we need. Someone who understands how to make broken things work again." She gestured for him to follow. "Come, I'll show you what we found." They walked to the ship's core, a massive chamber at the heart of the vessel. In the center was a sphere of light rotating slowly. Images played across its surface, showing things Daejung didn't understand. Alien cities, strange machines, beings of light and energy. "This is the knowledge we brought back," Jiwoo explained. "Everything the gateway showed us. The collected wisdom of civilizations that rose and fell before humans existed." "How many?" 137 species. All extinct now. All destroyed by the Dominion Coalition. Jiwoo touched the sphere and images flowed faster. They were like us once. Young, curious, reaching for the stars. But they weren't ready for what they found. They didn't understand the rules of galactic politics until it was too late. "What rules?" "That the old powers stay in power by preventing new powers from rising. That technology is controlled, rationed, kept secret. That young species are either absorbed or eliminated, never allowed to compete." Jiwoo's expression was sad. "The galaxy is not the open frontier humanity imagines. It's a prison where the guards have been in charge for millions of years." Daejung looked at the sphere. "But you found something that can help us." "Yes. The gateway was built by something older than the Dominion. Something that wanted to give younger species a chance." Jiwoo pulled up schematics. "These are weapon designs. Shield technology. Faster than light engines that don't rely on jump gates. Manufacturing systems that can build fleets in months instead of decades. Everything humanity needs to defend itself. Why didn't you share this when you first came back?" "We tried. But the moment we activated our drives, the Dominion detected us. We barely escaped. We realized we had to hide, to wait until humanity was more developed and could protect the knowledge." Jiwoo looked at him. "We've been asleep for over a century, waiting for someone like you." "I'm just an old mechanic. You're someone who knows Earth technology. Someone who can bridge the gap between what we were and what we became." Jiwoo gestured to the sphere. "To access this knowledge, you must interface with the ship's core. Your consciousness will expand. You'll be able to understand and use these technologies. But the process will change you permanently. You'll never be fully human again. What will I become? Something new. Part human, part machine, part something else entirely. You'll still be yourself, but you'll also be more." Jiwoo touched his shoulder. "I won't lie to you. It's frightening. You'll experience the memories of extinct species. You'll feel their hopes and their failures. It's a heavy burden. Dae-jung thought about his life. 68 years of fixing machines, a failed marriage, an estranged family, a workshop that was about to be taken away. What did he have to lose? How do I start? Jiwoo smiled. Sit in the chair at the center. The ship will do the rest. Dae-jung walked to the chair and sat down. It adjusted to fit his body perfectly. Above him, Hyunwoo's voice crackled through the radio. Grandfather? What's happening? Your vitals are spiking. I'm going to do something. Don't worry about me. What? Wait, don't. Take care of the workshop, Dae-jung said. And tell Bo-ra she was right. I am crazy. He reached up and pulled cables from the chair. They connected to his suit, then pierced through to his skin. He felt a brief moment of pain, then nothing, then everything. His mind exploded outward. Suddenly he was connected to the ship, to every system and circuit. He could feel the engines humming deep in the hull. He could sense the stasis pods and the sleeping crew. He could feel the knowledge stored in the core, vast and ancient. And he could feel the memories of the dead civilizations. Their languages flooded into his mind. Their histories, their sciences, their arts. He watched species rise from primitive worlds and reach for the stars. He watched them encounter the Dominion and try to resist. He watched them fail one by one over millions of years. He felt their fear, their desperation, their hope that maybe the next young species would succeed where they had failed. Dae-jung screamed. The knowledge was too much, too vast. His human mind wasn't designed to hold this much information. He felt himself fracturing, breaking apart, but then something anchored him. His stubbornness. That core of who he was. The part that had always refused to give up, refused to surrender. It held him together while his consciousness expanded to fill the ship. He was still Dae-jung, still the old mechanic, but now he was also something more. He could understand the technologies now. He could see how they worked, how to build them, how to use them. He had the knowledge of 100 extinct species, all their successes and failures stored in his expanded mind. And he understood the danger. The Dominion Coalition was vast and powerful. They had controlled the galaxy for so long that they believed they were invincible. They crushed any species that threatened their dominance, but they had never faced humans before. They had never encountered a species stubborn enough to dig 15 kilometers underground just to prove they could. They had never met a species that made tools from scrap and refused to accept that anything was impossible. Dae-jung opened his eyes. They glowed blue now, like Jiwoo's. He stood up from the chair, feeling stronger than he had in decades. The cables disconnected automatically. How do you feel? Jiwoo asked. Different, but still me. Dae-jung looked at his hands. They were the same old wrinkled hands, but now he could see energy flowing through them, connecting him to the ship. I can feel everything. The ship, the knowledge, it's all there. Good. Then you're ready for what comes next. What comes next? The Dominion will have detected the energy surge from your transformation. They'll send scouts to investigate. Jiwoo's expression was grim. You have maybe 72 hours before they arrive. Then we need to wake up your crew and prepare. There's no time for that. You need to take the ship and warn humanity. Jiwoo gripped his shoulders. This is bigger than one old mechanic and one ancient ship. This is about the survival of our entire species. Dae-jung thought about Hyunwoo waiting above, about the workshop, about Earth and all the human colonies scattered across the stars, about billions of people who had no idea what was coming. I'll need help, he said. You'll have it. But first you need to get this ship into space. Dae-jung's transformation had taken only 30 minutes, but to him it felt like years. When he finally emerged from the ship, climbing back through the tunnel to his workshop, Hyunwoo was frantic. Your vitals went crazy. I thought you were dying. Hyunwoo helped him out of the excavation suit. Then he saw Dae-jung's eyes. Grandfather, what happened to you? I interfaced with the ship. Dae-jung's voice sounded different, echoing slightly. I have the knowledge now. All of it. Your eyes are glowing. I know. Dae-jung walked to his computer and placed his hand on it. Instantly, data began flowing. Schematics appeared on every screen. Designs for weapons, shields, engines. All the technology the extinct civilizations had developed over millions of years. We need to contact the military now. Hyunwoo stared at the screens. This is real. All of it is real. Yes, and we have less than 3 days before hostile aliens arrive in our solar system. What? The transformation created an energy signature. The Dominion Coalition will have detected it. They'll send scouts to investigate. Dae-jung turned to his grandson. I need you to contact the Korean Space Defense Force. Ask for Commander Sung-min. Tell him it's about the Taguki. Hyunwoo grabbed his phone with shaking hands. 2 hours later, military vehicles surrounded the scrapyard. Soldiers in combat armor set up a perimeter. Drones circled overhead. A tall woman in a commander's uniform walked into the workshop, flanked by armed guards. I'm Commander Sung-min, she said, looking at Dae-jung with suspicion. You're the mechanic who claims to have found the Taguki? Not claims. I found it, and I interfaced with it. Dae-jung gestured to the computers. Look at the data. Sung-min studied the screens. Her expression changed from skepticism to shock. Where did you get these designs? From civilizations that died fighting the Dominion Coalition, from species that tried to resist and failed. Dae-jung pulled up more data. In 70 hours, give or take, a Dominion scout ship will enter our solar system. If we're not ready, humanity's war for survival will be over before it begins. You expect me to believe that hostile aliens are coming based on the word of an old mechanic with glowing eyes? I expect you to verify it. Send probes to the outer system. Check for anomalous energy signatures. You'll find the scout ship entering near Neptune's orbit. Sung-min pulled out her communicator and gave orders. While they waited for confirmation, more military personnel arrived. Scientists, engineers, intelligence officers. They all wanted to see the buried ship, the impossible technology, the old man who claimed to have the knowledge of extinct civilizations. Dae-jung demonstrated what he could do. He connected to the ship through the tunnel and activated its systems remotely. Across the scrapyard, every broken spacecraft suddenly powered up. Dead engines roared to life. Cracked hulls sealed themselves. Rust fell away, revealing pristine metal underneath. Impossible, one of the engineers whispered. Not impossible, just advanced. Dae-jung deactivated the systems. The ship can repair any technology it understands, and it understands everything humans have ever built. Then he created a shield. With a thought, an energy barrier appeared around the workshop. Sung-min ordered her soldiers to fire at it. Bullets bounced off. Energy weapons dissipated harmlessly. Even explosives couldn't penetrate it. That shield could protect an entire city, Sung-min said quietly. Yes, and I can teach your engineers how to build them, but we need time. The confirmation came 30 minutes later. Deep space monitors had detected something entering the solar system near Neptune. It was massive, moving faster than anything human-made and heading toward Earth. Sung-min's face went pale. You were right. I wish I wasn't. Dae-jung sat down heavily. The demonstration had tired him. The scout ship is equipped with weapons that can destroy planets. If it determines that humanity has accessed precursor technology, it will signal the Dominion fleet. Then it's over. How do we stop it? We fight. We take the Taguki into space and we destroy the scout before it can transmit its findings. One ship against an alien warship? That's suicide, not one ship. The Taguki is more advanced than anything the Dominion has. They've been using the same technology for millions of years. They're stagnant, arrogant. They believe nothing can challenge them. Dae-jung smiled grimly. They've never fought humans before. Sung-min considered this. What do you need? Volunteers. People who can crew the ship. And time to wake up the original crew. You'll have both. But we need to coordinate with other governments. The Americans, the Chinese, the Europeans. No time for that. By the time all the politicians agree on anything, the scout will be here. Dae-jung stood up. We move now or we don't move at all. The next 24 hours were chaos. Sung-min brought in her best people, soldiers and engineers who were willing to take the risk. Dae-jung worked with them, teaching them how to interface with the ship's systems. It was difficult, dangerous work. 2 volunteers suffered neural feedback and had to be hospitalized, but 10 others succeeded, their consciousness expanding to connect with the vessel. Ji-woo and the other crew members began waking from their long sleep. They were disoriented at first, confused by how much time had passed, but they quickly adapted, helping to prepare the ship for combat. Bo-ra, the inspector who had wanted to shut down the scrapyard, showed up with a team of lawyers. The government wants to claim salvage rights, she told Dae-jung. But I've been looking at the old property laws. This land is yours. The ship is yours. They can't take it without your permission. Why are you helping me? Because you were right. This place isn't just a junkyard. It's the most important location on Earth right now. Bo-Ra smiled. Besides, someone needs to protect it while you're out there fighting aliens. Hyunwoo refused to stay behind. I'm coming with you, he told his grandfather. You don't have any military training. Neither do you. You're a mechanic. Hyunwoo crossed his arms. I know data systems. I can help manage the ship's information networks. You need me. Daejung wanted to argue, but he knew his grandson was right. And secretly he was glad. He had spent too many years pushing his family away. Fine, but you follow orders. Your orders or the military's? Mine. I'm the captain now. The Taegukgi began its ascent 36 hours after the scout was detected. The ground shook as the massive ship rose from its underground berth. Rock and soil fell away as it emerged into daylight for the first time in over a century. People across Busan stopped and stared at the sky. News helicopters captured footage that would be broadcast around the world. The ship was beautiful and terrifying, its crystalline hull glowing with blue light, its geometry impossible and perfect. Daejung stood on the bridge, connected to every system. He could feel the engines powering up, feel the shields activating, feel the weapons charging. The knowledge of extinct civilizations flowed through his mind, showing him how to pilot the ship, how to fight with it. Sungmin stood beside him, her officers at their stations. Hyunwoo was in the data center, linking the ship's systems with human networks. Jiwoo and her crew were spread throughout the vessel, ready to assist. All systems operational, one of the officers reported. Then, let's go. Daejung reached out with his mind and activated the faster-than-light drive. The Taegukgi vanished from Earth's sky and reappeared near Jupiter's orbit. The journey that would take conventional ships weeks took them seconds. Target acquired, Sungmin said. The scout ship is 3 million kilometers ahead. Daejung could see it through the ship's sensors. It was enormous, a dark wedge covered in weapons. It had detected them immediately and was changing course to intercept. They're hailing us, Hyunwoo called out. Audio and visual. Put it on screen, an image appeared. The alien commander was not a single being, but a collective consciousness called the Arbiters. Multiple faces appeared on the screen, speaking in unison. Unknown vessel. You have accessed forbidden technology. Surrender it immediately or be destroyed. Daejung thought about everything he had learned. About the extinct civilizations who had surrendered and been absorbed. About the species who had fought and been annihilated. About humanity. Scattered across 200 worlds, completely unprepared for what was coming. This is Captain Daejung of the human vessel Taegukgi, he said. We don't surrender, and we don't negotiate with prison guards. The Arbiter's expression didn't change. Then you will be eliminated. Your species will be erased from the galaxy. You're welcome to try. Daejung smiled. I'm just an old mechanic, but I've been fixing broken things my whole life. And you know what I've learned? The oldest machines are often the most broken. They just hide it well. He cut the transmission and looked at Sungmin. Ready? Ready. Then let's show them what humans can do. The Taegukgi accelerated toward the Dominion Scout, and the battle for humanity's future began. The Dominion Scout opened fire first. Energy beams lanced across the darkness, each one powerful enough to vaporize a city. Daejung felt the ship's shields absorb the impact, felt the ancient technology distributing the energy harmlessly across the hull. Shields holding at 97%, an officer reported. Return fire, targeting their weapon arrays. Daejung reached out with his expanded consciousness, feeling the Taegukgi's weapon systems come alive. Crystalline cannons emerged from the hull and fired. The shots were precise, surgical. They struck the scouts' weapons one by one, melting them into slag. The Dominion ship tried to evade, but Daejung anticipated every move. He had the combat knowledge of 100 extinct species in his mind. He knew every tactic, every strategy. How are you doing that? Sungmin asked, watching the tactical display. Experience. The Arbiters have been using the same combat doctrines for millions of years. They're predictable. Daejung maneuvered the ship using Jupiter's gravity to slingshot around the gas giant. They think their technology makes them invincible. They've forgotten how to adapt. The scout fired again, launching missiles that split into thousands of smaller warheads. Each one tracked the Taegukgi with deadly accuracy. Point defense online, Daejung said calmly. The ship's shields pulsed, creating interference patterns. The missiles lost their tracking and detonated harmlessly in space. They're using weapons designed to overwhelm primitive defenses. But our shields are anything but primitive. Hyunwoo's voice came through the intercom. Grandfather, I'm picking up transmissions from the scout. They're trying to send data back to the Dominion. Block them. Don't let any signal get through. Already on it. I'm jamming their communications. Hyunwoo sounded proud. They can't call for help. The scout changed tactics, accelerating toward Earth. It was trying to reach the planet before the Taeguki could stop it. If it couldn't win the battle, it would destroy humanity's homeworld. Not today, Daejung muttered. He pushed the engines to maximum and jumped ahead of the scout, placing the Taeguki between the enemy and Earth. The arbiters appeared on screen again. You delay the inevitable. The Dominion will learn of this. They will come in numbers you cannot imagine. Let them come. We'll be ready. Daejung studied the enemy ship, using the knowledge in his mind to analyze its structure. I've been a mechanic for 50 years. You know what I've learned? Every machine has a weakness. Every system has a point of failure. He found it. The scout's power core was old, ancient even by Dominion standards. It was efficient but inflexible, designed to last for millions of years without maintenance. And that was its weakness. It couldn't adapt to unexpected loads. Target their power distribution nodes, Daejung ordered. Not to destroy but to overload. Overload? Songmin looked confused. It's a trick I used to use on broken fusion reactors. You don't smash them. You make them smash themselves. Daejung fired precisely targeted shots at the scout's hull, hitting spots that would cause feedback in the power systems. The enemy ship's lights flickered. Its weapons went offline. The arbiter's image on the screen distorted. You cannot defeat us, they said, but their voice was uncertain now. I already have. Daejung sent one final pulse of energy. The scout's power core overloaded, cascading through every system. The ship went dark, dead in space, but intact. Why didn't you destroy them? Sungmin asked. Because I wanted them to see what happens next. Daejung activated the Taeguki's communication system. He broadcast on every frequency, knowing the disabled scout would record everything. This message is for the Dominion Coalition, for the arbiters and all the old powers who think they control the galaxy. He pulled up images of human history, wars and discoveries, failures and triumphs, humanity climbing from caves to stars. We are humans. We are young and inexperienced. We make mistakes. We fall down. Daejung's voice was steady, but we get back up. We adapt. We improvise. We never surrender. He showed them footage of the Taeguki rising from underground, of human engineers working alongside the awakened crew, of a species refusing to accept that they were too late, too weak, too primitive to matter. You've controlled this galaxy for millions of years. You've crushed every species that challenged you. You've made yourselves believe you're invincible. Daejung's eyes glowed brighter. But you've never faced humans before. You've never fought a species stubborn enough to bury hope 15 kilometers underground and wait over a century for someone to find it. He targeted the scout's engines and fired, destroying them completely. The ship was now a derelict, unable to move but still recording. This is your only warning. Stay away from human space. Stay away from our worlds. Stay away from our future. Daejung's expression was hard. Because if you come for us, we won't just fight. We'll win. And we'll do it with old metal and new ideas, with stubborn mechanics and brave crews, with everything you've forgotten how to be. He cut the transmission and destroyed the scout's long-range communications, leaving only the local recorders intact. The Dominion would eventually find the wreck and recover the message. But by then, humanity would be ready. Take us home, Daejung said quietly. The Taeguki jumped back to Earth orbit. When they arrived, every human ship in the system was waiting. News of the battle had spread. The world had watched through the military's broadcasts. They had seen an old mechanic and an ancient ship face down an alien warship and win. The ship descended slowly, not to the scrapyard but to a military installation where it could be studied properly. Daejung stood on the bridge looking at Earth through the view screens. His planet, his home, still safe, at least for now. What happens next? Hyunwoo asked. Now the real work begins. We have 5 years, maybe less, before the Dominion sends a fleet. Daejung gestured to the knowledge streaming through the ship's systems. We need to build ships, train crews, fortify our colonies. We need to take everything we learned and share it with all of humanity. Sungmin approached him. The government wants to speak with you. Every government, actually. You're probably the most important person on Earth right now. I'm just a mechanic. You're the person who saved our species. Sungmin smiled slightly. And you're the only one who can teach us how to use this technology. Daejung was tired. The battle had drained him, and his fusion with the ship took constant energy to maintain. But there was too much to do to rest. Then let's get started. Over the next months, the Taiguchi became humanity's mobile university. Daejung and the awakened crew taught thousands of engineers and scientists how to build the advanced technology. Factories across Earth and the colonies began producing shields, weapons, and faster-than-light engines. Bora managed the scrapyard, which had become a historical site and training ground. She made sure it was preserved exactly as Daejung had left it, rust and all. People came from across the system to see where it all began. Hyunwoo became the liaison between the ship and human governments. He helped translate Daejung's technical knowledge into language that politicians and military leaders could understand. Their relationship had healed completely. They were no longer just grandfather and grandson. They were partners in preparing humanity for survival. 5 years after the battle, Daejung stood on the bridge of a new ship. The Cheongyang had been replicated, and there were now 50 vessels like it, each crewed by humans who had interfaced with the technology. They formed humanity's first deep space fleet. Daejung commanded the fleet from the original Cheongyang, his consciousness permanently fused with the ancient vessel. His body had aged, but the ship kept him alive, kept him strong. He would never retire now. He would serve until humanity was safe. "Sir, we're ready to depart," Sungmin reported. She commanded one of the new ships now, having interfaced with it herself. "Then let's go. Time to explore what's out there." Daejung looked at the stars. Time to show the galaxy what humans can do. The fleet jumped into the darkness, heading for the frontier. Behind them, Earth and the colonies continued building, preparing, refusing to surrender. 7 years after Daejung found the signal, the Dominion sent their fleet to human space, expecting to find primitive natives ready for conquest. Instead, they found fortified worlds, advanced weapons, and a species that had learned everything the extinct civilizations had tried to teach them. The war that followed would last decades. Humanity would lose battles, lose worlds, lose millions of lives. But they would never lose hope. They would adapt and improvise and fight with everything they had. And at the front of every major battle, an old mechanic in an ancient ship would remind the Dominion why they should have left humans alone. Bora visited the scrapyard memorial every year on the anniversary of the discovery. She would stand where Daejung's workshop had been and look at the statue they had built. It showed an old man with a wrench staring up at the stars. The plaque at the base read, "Daejung, Mechanic and Captain, who taught us that it's never too late to fix what's broken, who showed us that experience and stubbornness can change the galaxy, who proved that old metal in the right hands can build a new future." Children would ask their parents about the old man with glowing eyes who lived in a ship and fought impossible battles. Thing W.